Hey guys, what's up? It's Alan here, Corporal Tunnel Tech, and today, well first, I lost my little clip for my lavalier mic, which is really fun and really exciting. Last time's audio sucked because I tried something else, and it didn't work, or at least it didn't work well, so I hope today's video works alright. If you still see this, then obviously it worked okay. So anyway guys, today we're going to be looking at an old AMD card, an HD 6850, and this is it right here, the HD 6850. It's an old guy with 1 GB GDDR5. It's got one 6-pin connector and one fan. This model has a couple DVI link, DisplayPort and HDMI. I picked this up for $10 on Facebook Marketplace. You might see my cat's tail walking around. I picked up for $10, kind of in a bundle deal. I didn't really care about the card. But yeah, we're just going to test out how it does in today's games. I'm expecting it to be on par-ish with the GTX 650. So, without further ado, let's get into the benchmarks. Alright guys, we're back from the benchmarks, and things did not go well for this card. I had higher hopes. So let's just kind of break it down, go through it a little bit, go through each game. So I wanted to keep my benchmarking games the same. That way you can kind of look back. I'll probably swap in, swap out as games release as I purchase them. I don't purchase every new game. That's why Shadow of the Tomb Raider isn't on there, just because I haven't even beat Rise of the Tomb Raider, so I'm not going to buy the next one. So yeah, guys, let's just break it down. But first, I just want to say the video capture footage is actually from the 750 Ti stuff. I just wanted to reuse it because I couldn't get any capture stuff to work. The Radeon Relive stuff, I could not get it to install properly with my hardware. I believe that's because the graphics card is too old and AMD doesn't support those kind of features. So that's why we didn't get new captured stuff. But also I was having trouble with everything. I got my benchmarking stuff. I use MSI Afterburner and I start a benchmark for 10 minutes. I do a 10-minute run, try to do it as similarly as possible from the stock to the overclock. So I only had my stuff work for the first 2 games. That was CSGO and Far Cry New Dawn. After that, I could not get it to start the benchmark or stop the benchmark, do anything with it. So I just kind of had to eyeball it, and the ones that had in-game benchmarks like GTA 5, I used that along with Rise of the Tomb Raider, and that was it. So anyway, let's go through. CSGO performed really well, and when I played that game, everything was running pretty smoothly. And as far as what I can remember compared to this GTX 650, this was probably around 20% better in that game, and I was like, okay, sweet, we should be getting some decent 720p results from a lot of these games. And that was not correct whatsoever. Besides CSGO, it was kind of a train wreck, to be quite honest. Far Cry New Dawn was 720p lowest settings, and we had 37 FPS, and then we moved on to overclocked, and we got 41. Far Cry New Dawn does not look very good at 720p lowest settings. It's rough. GTA 5 was surprisingly fine. We all know that that's a pretty CPU intensive game, and that's probably why CSGO was nice, and well, that's a much easier run to run. GTA 5 was perfectly playable, 1080p lowest, did the in-game benchmark like I said. PUBG, I mean, it was fine actually. It was pretty consistent, and we did see a little bit of a jump with the overclocks. Now, like I said, these are my guesstimates. This is about 10 minutes of running around Sandhawk. That's usually the map that I try to use for benchmarks. So a decent amount of time running around there, and that's kind of what I was seeing for the most part. Rise of the Tomb Raider did the in-game benchmarks, so those are pretty accurate. Let's see, Witcher 3 was fine. Witcher 3 seems to me to look pretty good, even at 720p, so I think they did a good job with that game. Apex Legends, lowest to 720p, which we all know doesn't really look that great. But I was getting a solid 60 actually. I was pretty surprised at that figure. Overclocked, I couldn't tell any difference from the overclock data, so like I said, if I were able to get to my benchmark stuff, you might see a couple frames per second, but really playability, it was still fine. Fortnite was terrible. The frame rate wasn't awful. I started out at 1080p lowest settings, now not pro settings, lowest settings, and it was playable frame rates, but the frame times were really bad. I could tell just by looking at it. It was stuttering. It just wasn't smooth at all. I'm like, oh, okay, let's drop it down to 900p. Same thing. Didn't even really affect performance at all. Still got the same frame rates. So yeah, Fortnite does not like older AMD cards at all. I was expecting to play pro settings, get solid 60 at 1080p. That did not happen. BF5 didn't do anything. It gave me some warning that said, oh, the hardware is lower than what you should have, type of thing, and I'm like, cool. And then it started to load up, but then I couldn't get anywhere. I couldn't even get to the main menu part. So yeah, guys, I bought it for 10 bucks. If you're putting together literally like if you could get it for $10 or under, maybe. And you're putting together like a super cheap, like CSGO, Dota 2 would probably run fine. build, then okay. I wouldn't go out of your way to buy this card, guys. The support, I think the driver support ended in 2016 for it. So yeah, it's not doing super hot today. I expected more. I also have an HD 6870, which I'm gonna test because I want to test it and just kind of let you guys know, but I'm expecting the same thing with maybe slightly better frame rates on the games that run well. So yeah, that's where we're at. I also bought an HD 5870, which is like from 2009. It's a super boss card from that time period, but I fiddled around with it for hours trying to get drivers installed, and I was having some problems. So I'm going to try to figure that out because that was supposed to be this week's video, but it'll probably end up getting pushed back until I can finally figure out what to do with it. So anyway, guys, I hope you enjoyed this video. Please like and subscribe if you liked the video, and subscribe if you want to see some more GPU benchmarks and stuff. I think next week we're going to be doing some cool, I got a PC build for you. So anyway, guys, I will see you next week in that video. Until then, have a great week, and I'll catch you then.